We just learned a few minutes ago that the Republican leadership is not going to be bringing this disastrous Graham-Cassidy health care bill before the Senate. And that means that we won. And that means for the fourth time, we beat back these horrific efforts to try to repeal and replace or just repeal the Affordable Care Act. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank the millions of Americans, and in fact there were millions of Americans who came out to rallies, who came out to town meetings, who emailed their senators, who got on the phone and called their senators, who used social media in every way they could to educate the American people to understand that it is not acceptable in this country that we throw 20 or 30 million people off of the health insurance they have, that we make $700–800 billion cuts in Medicaid, that we defund Planned Parenthood, that we raise premiums for older workers. That is not what this country is about. So what has happened over the last many months since Trump has been president, we have beaten back Republican proposal after Republican proposal, and that's because the American people stood together. Now our job is to understand that beating back Republican proposals, disastrous proposals, is not enough. The status quo is not good enough. 28 million Americans have no health insurance. Many of you have very, very high deductibles and co-payments. And our job now is to move forward in a very, very different direction. And that means that we should be making it clear that we are going to join the rest of the industrialized world, every single major country, and say that health care is a right of all people, not a privilege, that we are going to build on the successful Medicare program that currently exists for people 65 or older, and fight for a Medicare for all proposal, that we are going to substantially lower the cost of prescription drugs and take on the pharmaceutical industry so that 1 out of 5 Americans will no longer continue not to be able to afford the medicine that they need. Now here's some really, really good news, and that is since we have begun this effort, since we've introduced this bill, Medicare for All, in the Senate with 16 co-sponsors, what we are seeing all over this country is an upsurge of support for the concept. But we have a lot more work to do. We got a lot of educating to do. We got a lot of organizing to do. And with your help, that is what we're going to be doing in the coming months. So let me just conclude by saying that today marks a very, very significant victory. We stood together. We defeated horrendous Republican proposals that would have decimated healthcare for many, many millions of Americans. So let's now take that victory and let's go forward and energize the American people around a Medicare for All single-payer program. Thank you all very much.